My name is Rena, and welcome to LOL Living Out Loud. This is the podcast where women come together to intentionally and boldly embrace who we are. So, ladies, grab your girls, grab a pen, grab your journal, and the beverage of your choice, and welcome to LOL Living Out Loud. Welcome, ladies, and welcome back to LOL Living Out Loud, and this is episode 4. And we've been talking a lot about self-love, self-worth, what do you want? You know, some deep stuff that helps us LOL living out loud. And so instead of me just talking at you guys tonight, I thought I invite a friend of mine, Sam, to have a conversation with me about this self-love thing. So Sam, hi, welcome.
Hi. Thank you, Val.
Yes, welcome to LOL, Living Out Loud. And this is my first interview, y'all. So I'm excited that Sam decided to do this with me. So I'm going to start off, Sam. I give the ladies a writing prompt at the end of each episode. And the last writing prompt I gave them was, what do you want? And so the thing was, I try to respond to each writing prompt myself, and I'll share that with the group. But I couldn't answer the question because what happened was, it occurred to me that what I want is based on how I feel about myself, my self-worth, my self-esteem. It's all tied in there. Until you get all of that taken care of, and it's a constant process, it's hard to really answer the question or even know the answer to the question, what do you want? Because then you would say, what do you mean? No, so there's some basic wants that we have, not needs. There's some basic wants, wishes, dreams, hopes. And I think that when we don't live out loud, meaning we're not clear on who we are, we have a hard time answering that question, what do I want? Because we're scared to ask for what we really want, because we got to deal with the fact that, do we deserve it? All of that goes into it. So, Sam, with all of that being said, I'm going to ask you to talk to me a little about self-love. That's a big word. It means a lot to different people. It's going to take differently. So to you, when you hear the term self-love, what?
Well, it took me a long time to get there. I'm not a total package, I think, as far as really loving myself. But to even answer that question of what do I want, life experiences have showed me what I don't want.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's the same. Do you know what you want by realizing what you don't want?
I think
You know,
I think you're right. I also, that realizing what you don't want is part of developing who we are, our self-esteem, our self-worth, our value, our boundaries. You know, the more we know about ourselves, the bigger our boundaries become, or at least they should.
right.
And that all helps us decide what we want. But I mean that dream, what do you want? So when you say self-love, you know, these are going back and forth. This stuff is interchangeable, so interchangeable, blah, blah, blah. So when you go back and forth, when I say, Sam, what is self-love to you? Do you believe you love yourself totally at this point? And if you could put a percentage on it or a grade on it, A through F, where would you be and how did you get there?
Okay. So, I do love myself. It was a journey to really loving myself. You know, we as women, uh, we go through a lot in life. And as a woman of color, you know, as a young child, you know, fighting even against my own people, being an African American woman, a dark shaded woman, I went through trials with that. I went with trials of being tomboyish, not pretty enough, hair not straight enough. Went through a thing where I was developed quickly as a child. So I was developed at a young age, and, you know, taking on that kind of stuff and the things that happened to me in my life, I didn't love myself. I didn't know how. I figured nobody knew how to treat me. Nobody ever asked me what I want. You're just a girl.
Hmm.
So I never knew how to love myself.
So your
So
the external forces had a lot to do with how you felt internally?
yes, extra. But then I was raised in a beautiful household. I had both of my parents there. At the time, from the age of being born to 14 years old, I was the only child. Um, and but the things that happened outside of my home made a difference in my life.
Wow.
Now, I got strength from that stuff that happened inside my home, but I didn't recognize that I had that strength until I got older.
Isn't it amazing? We can grow up and we can be in a good home, but the external forces shape us in so many ways. And they can take the good that your parents build in you, your family builds in you, and tear it down in less than a school year.
That's right. I agree with that. And I had to fight. I always had to fight. If you ask any of my friends right now about me, they'll tell you I'm a fighter.
And what
No
were you
matter,
fighting for?
it didn't matter. I was fighting to be safe. I was fighting to be heard. I was fighting to be loved. I was fighting to be seen.
Wow.
I always fought, always, no matter what it was. Because as a young child, I couldn't fight for myself.
So what happened when you couldn't fight for yourself and you weren't heard? I know that derails and crushes our self-esteem, our self-worth, the value, how we see ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
When did you start at least seeing that there was something wrong about how you perceived who you were?
I think it took, because again, all through elementary school, middle school, high school, I was a fighter. So I didn't really start thinking something was wrong probably till I was about 16.
I think 16 is early.
You think it's early? Yeah, it was
Yeah, I
16.
think
And
that teenagers are struggling for an identity that's their own. So was it more than just the teenage struggle? Was there more involved in you finding out who you were, or at least discovering, hey, Sam, this isn't true about you, or how you see yourself? There's something wrong with it, girl.
well, I think because of my household, because of my grandmother,
Hmm.
I got to see things in a different way. And so me really spending like weekends with my grandmother and um, her really depositing that positive thing about you are beautiful. Even though my parents at home, again, I had a loving household, but my grandmother was the core of that. And when I turned 16, something clicked in me because it was something missing. Something was missing. I started going to work at 16, and I always felt it was a piece of my life that was missing. So I was yearning for something more, if that makes any sense.
It makes sense. But what do you think the more was? What were you yearning for? What was missing? What were you trying to discover at 16?
At 16, I didn't know what I was looking for. I just knew that it was something.
Okay. So
It
keep
was,
on. Take
yeah.
take take us on, take the LOLQ on that journey.
Um, okay. So when I was 16, I had already uh, practically had to fight for my life in my own home.
Okay.
Um, when I was 16, I realized that the 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 father that I had known to be my dad was not my dad. So these things made me start questioning a whole bunch of things that were happening in my life. So it was things that happened that made me start to think, you know what, it's got to be more than this. Now, as I journeyed on though, my behaviors, even though I was in search for something, I still fell with the behaviors in my environment, that outside influence. I still did crazy stuff.
Right.
It wasn't like I was mature at 16.
Right. Right.
But I just knew it was a piece of my life missing. So also, I met my real father at 16.
Wow. Wow. That must affect how one sees themselves immensely. I mean, when you meet the other half of you, chromosome-wise, DNA-wise, blood-wise, and you look at them and try to figure out if there's anything that you see in them and you, and where were they and why weren't they there? And so that's again developing self-esteem and self-worth and who you are. Talk about it.
And then I was crushed when I met him.
Oh, okay.
I was crushed. I was crushed because I didn't understand. Recently, I finally put the puzzle together while my mother put a different person on my birth certificate. I finally understood why. My mom was 15 when she had me. Okay. My dad was 20. So she protected him.
Yes, she did.
Right.
Look, in our community, that's death. Don't y'all listening, but that's a hit.
Yes, so she protected him, but look at the trickle-down effect.
And what was the trickle-down effect?
Nobody wanted me.
Is that how you saw it, or is that how it was?
That's how I saw it. It wasn't true.
Okay.
But as a 16-year-old, growing up where I had to fight almost every day, nobody, and so why not wild out?
Right, why not?
Why not take what I want? Why not do whatever I want? Right. Why not? So it took me a long time. This journey for me has been a long journey. I think, so when you say, I love myself, I love myself today.
And how do you know? I think when you were younger, we're all clear on that. We know how we're not loving ourselves. We're pretty clear, the things that I'm allowing, the things that I'm doing, the choices that I'm making, the boundaries that I'm not making for myself and for others. That's not loving. I'm not respecting myself. I'm not loving myself. So now we're in the 50 plus community, and you can say with certainty that I love myself.
Well, you say the 50 plus, 50 is
good. Yeah, the LOL crew.
Yes.
The youngest sisters are invited, ladies. Y'all are invited. Listen and learn.
But let me tell you, even at 50, wow, I still made stupid mistakes based on my circumstances.
That external again.
That's right. Based on what was happening in my life, I still made stupid mistakes. At the time I was 50, I became unemployed. I got laid off, and unemployment only lasts for 6 months back then, and I didn't know that the government had cut it off. And I met this guy, and this guy was, oh my goodness, he was amazing. I mean, that's the only words I could, amazing. And he started giving me the money that I would get every week for unemployment. And he gave that to me consistently. And then I made the mistake of letting him move in. And then he continued to give me money. He even started giving me his paychecks.
Wow.
Yeah, depositing in my account. Well, he wasn't my husband. We weren't going to ever get married.
Did you know that then?
I didn't know that then. I did not.
Hindsight.
Yeah, but it was the place that, because before that had happened, I could have told you, I could have looked you in your eyes, Valerie, and told you that would never happen to me. I would have never let a man come and move with me. He's not my husband. I could have said that to you and meant it. But because I was vulnerable, my circumstances at the time, bills still needed to be paid, I chose. We always have a choice.
So when you chose that situation, because I'm listening and I'm thinking about myself and other sisters that I know, and when it's an external force and we do something like we lose our job or we're unsure, we're insecure in some way, does that affect your self-esteem, your love, your self-worth, your value, and allow, a devil in a suit to come in your life?
Most definitely, because you're thinking, this is the person this is your happy place.
Right. That's what they want you to think, right?
Yes, he's doing everything right. I mean, he's giving me all his money. I mean, we traveled together.
Yeah.
We went to Hawaii for 15 days.
Jealous.
We traveled. We went to where else did we go? We went about 4 trips in, I guess, 3 years. Okay. And we went to Vegas for my 50th birthday. And you think that this is what you've been asking for.
Right.
This is what you've been looking for. You want somebody to be attentive to you and to really choose you.
So wait, let me stop right there before I forget to ask this question.
Okay.
So at 50 years old, when you meet this man who is, for all intents and purposes, a devil in a blue suit, okay, and he comes into your life and he's checking all these boxes, the Cinderella boxes. And then later you find out that it was all a lie, all a disguise. What did you discover about yourself, your deficits at that point that allowed that into your life?
So I would say learn to trust yourself. We don't trust ourselves. Something will happen and we'll shove that under the rug. Something is said or something is done and they quickly cover that up. And you just act like it didn't happen and you go on with it.
Right.
So we have to trust ourselves.
And what we battle against, though, Sam, with the trust that you're talking about, and he was loving you the way that you wanted to be loved. This is your dream come true. I believe, everybody doesn't have to agree with this, but I believe that human beings in and of itself desire to be loved.
I agree.
Be in a safe place. I mean, whether it's spoken or unspoken, there's not a human being that doesn't desire to be loved. Because when you're loved, you're accepted, you're safe, you're valued, all of that. So, and then somebody comes in that plays on that need while you're vulnerable. So I believe now you might be in a position where if you lost your job now, could that same devil get in?
It wouldn't happen.
And
the only reason why, and let me tell you, when I met him, I was trying to do something different. I was trying to change me because I always felt that I was too harsh. I'm straightforward. I'm direct. I tried to soften up a little bit, trying to change who I was for the better. Not because of him, but, I was just trying to try something new. And the reason why it wouldn't happen today, because I do know better.
Okay.
I do know better. And my trust will never be in man again now. Okay. I'm not going to trust a man again. Not with my life and my well-being. I'm not going to do that again. Yeah, I'm never going to do that again. Not trust a man.
It came to marriage. I mean, you know what I mean? It's a catch-22. We have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable to be in a committed, loving, monogamous, healthy relationship.
Yeah, right? but why? And this is one thing that I've learned. And we've heard, why buy the cow when you get the milk for free. We've heard those
Yeah.
cliches and stuff like that. I'm not going to be acting like somebody's wife and I'm just a girlfriend.
Well, hold on, ladies. The clap. Y'all couldn't see that? That was a clap. Shoot.
We give too
Many
much.
marriages, M-I-N-I marriages, we get in now.
We give too much and we talk too much.
Right.
We talk too much, and while we're talking, this person is studying us.
Woo.
We telling all what happened, the last 3 relationships. They know who's in our family, who we talk to, who we don't talk to. We tell too much and we give too much.
That's boundaries. That's boundaries. We need to learn how to create boundaries. That's part of loving yourself. You need a place where you get to say, no, you're not allowed in that room. As my mother used to say to me all the time, Valerie, you don't have to give all of yourself to a man. Keep something for yourself.
But we don't do it because we think that we're going to lose them.
But we would never say that. We would never tell anybody that.
No, but we do all of that because you think you're going to keep them and they still go out and do whatever.
That's right.
You're not going to keep them by doing, only thing that you want to do is work yourself to death.
So I have a question to ask you. So, and ladies, I want y'all to think about this too, because I didn't give a writing prompt and I don't think I'm going to give one for this interview, for this episode, but there's a lot to write about. So do you ladies think, and Sam, I'm asking you the question, but do you ladies think that loving yourself could block someone from loving you?
So I can answer partially that question.
Okay.
I know for a fact that I am a strong woman. And I know that a lot of men will shy away from that. So, but for me, it won't stop the right one from loving me.
She hit something, lady. She hit on it. That's it. The right one will have entry. Loving ourselves, I was listening to one of my favorites, Maya Angelou, speak about this topic. And one of the things that must happen first and foremost in loving ourselves is creating boundaries. People who love themselves have boundaries. They have stop points. They have no's. When you don't love yourself, you let somebody walk in and out and all over you. That man, you don't want him near you. But a man who is right for you and good for you respects your boundaries. They respect who you are. When you love yourself, you raise your standards. Old ladies used to say it like this back in the day. If some of your great grandmothers are around, you keep your skirt low and your standards high. You don't raise your skirt, you raise your standards. Because everything tied to sex for them, but they were trying to teach us something.
Right.
Even who we give our body to.
I was just getting ready to say that, Valerie. We give our body so quickly for somebody to discard you as trash.
And you feel like that, really.
And you feel like it.
And you feel like it.
And I still run into women that give their bodies up really quickly and then don't understand why it goes awry.
Right. It's as if what we heard from our mothers and our elders, our older women in our lives, we don't believe it. You mentioned why buy the cow when you get the milk free? Why put the cart before the horse and all of that stuff? It matters. That old-fashioned stuff is not the sex of the focus. The sex is not the focus. What they're saying is value yourself, present yourself as the jewel that you are, and everybody can't get between your legs. It's that simple.
That's right.
That's loving yourself. You really love yourself, then our list about who we slept with, that list would be really, really short.
But you will run into the man that's a hunter. Most men are hunters.
Yeah.
And they will consider you as a challenge.
Yes.
But you got to love yourself through that.
That's what you just said they do, though. They study you.
That's right. Because once the challenge is over, you're over.
They're done.
That's it.
That's it. So, ladies, I think that we talked about a lot today. I mean, it had to do with just stuff we go through. I don't think Sam has shared anything with us that you can't relate to. So, Sam, if you were giving the writing prompt of the night as we get ready to wrap this up, I try to keep everything within 20 to 30 minutes. So I don't know how we did, but if it was over, it was well worth it. If you were giving the writing prompt for our journal for this week, what would the writing prompt be?
How can you remain true to yourself?
Good one. Remember, ladies, write it in the journal. Take the week, take some time, think about it, and be honest about it, because all of this is what makes us, LOL, live out loud. So, ladies, I want you to do me a favor. Send me a review, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your mama, tell your favorite puppy, I don't know, tell everybody about LOL, living out loud. And in the words of Dolly Parton, find out who you are and do it on purpose.
My name is Rena, and welcome to LOL Living Out Loud. This is the podcast where women come together to intentionally and boldly embrace who we are. So, ladies, grab your girls, grab a pen, grab your journal, and the beverage of your choice, and welcome to LOL Living Out Loud.